Welcome to Words Matter, the podcast where we explore the transformative power of language and how the words we choose shape our lives. I'm your host, Deanna Ley, the Catalytic Coach, and I'm here to guide you on a journey of opportunities, progress, and change. Each episode will dive into a thought-provoking quote or phrase, unpack its meaning, and discover how it can inspire us to rise above challenges, embrace joy in the journey, and ignite our possible. Your words matter because you matter. Now, let's get to today's amazing episode. Well, hello, friends, and welcome back to another awesome episode of Words Matter. I'm so glad you're here. And I don't mean just here listening or watching this podcast. I mean here, at this very moment, at this very point in your journey. Because if you've made it through this confidence series, something inside of you has for sure been stirring, remembering, reawakening, even renewing. These last 6 episodes have each been a step, each one building upon the next. So if you're just joining us, or if you haven't listened to them all yet, I strongly encourage you, start back at episode 14. Confidence comes from keeping the promises that you make to yourself. Because in this last episode, we're bringing it all together, not with an ending, but with an invitation. And that brings us to today's quote by the talented and wise Audrey Hepburn. Nothing is impossible. The word itself says, I'm possible. Now, it's one of those quotes that's been shared so often, it risks sounding cliche. But when you slow down, when you really allow yourself to hear it and feel it deep in your core, it becomes a decision, a deep truth that shifts something inside of you. I'm possible. It's not just clever wordplay, friends. It's a mindset, a commitment, a claim, a declaration that who you are is no longer defined by what you haven't done, but by what you are now willing to believe is within reach. It's the moment you stop waiting for proof outside of yourself and start recognizing that the possibility has always lived inside you. And it only hits that hard, only becomes real when you've walked the path to it. So how about we walk that together again? We started with something simple, something we often skip, keeping promises to ourselves. Because you cannot build unshakable confidence on broken agreements. When you constantly say, I'll do it, and then you don't, your brain remembers, your body remembers, your belief in yourself erodes slowly but surely. But when you start keeping those promises, big or small, you begin to rebuild something sacred, self-trust. And with that, the real work begins. I can. Now that's the voice of possibility, of potential, of hope. It's where you stop assuming you're stuck and start seeing what might be waiting for you on the other side of effort. I can is the spark. It's the permission slip to believe again. I will. Now this is where belief becomes motion. It's no longer about dreaming. It's about deciding and then doing. And sometimes this is the hardest shift of all because action means risk, but it also means ownership. I will says, I'm all in on this and I'm all in on me. Let's do it. Let's go. Now I must. This is where confidence stops being optional, where your deep why becomes more powerful than your FUD, that fear, uncertainty, and doubt. It's the moment when your change becomes necessary, not for others, but for you, because you realize that you've lived in the land of someday long enough, and you want more, not in a greedy way, in a grounded, soul-honoring way. I am. Now we're no longer talking about just believing and doing and knowing why we're doing it. We're talking about identity. That's right. Confidence rooted here doesn't come and go based on the weather, the traffic, or the news. It doesn't shift based on what's happening in the world, what others say about you or to you, or how others choose to act around you. It's internal, it's unshakable. I am says this is who I am now and how I live, and I am not compromising myself or settling for anything less than I deserve. I owe it to myself to be fully and completely me. And finally, I did the mirror, the evidence, the proof, not of perfection, but of progress, because that's what real confidence is, proof over perfection. It's not about doing everything flawlessly. It's about doing the hard thing anyway. Messy, human, brave. And let's be honest, there are a lot of things that try to block us from stepping into that kind of truth. Sometimes it's fear. Sometimes it's self-doubt. Sometimes it's the stories we've been told or the ones we keep telling ourselves over and over and over. Maybe it's a past failure that keeps echoing in your head. Maybe it's a voice saying, "Who do you think you are?" Maybe it's the pressure to be all the things to all the people, or the weight of expectations, yours or someone else's. But one of the sneakiest and most destructive barriers of all, as we talked about last week, is perfectionism. Because perfectionism doesn't just make us overthink, it paralyzes us. I shared how research shows it's tied directly to chronic procrastination, increased anxiety, and lower self-esteem. Why? Because the pressure we choose to put on ourselves to do it flawlessly keeps us from even getting started. And when we do start, we dismiss our efforts because they weren't good enough by some imaginary standard. Perfection is the quiet thief of possibility. But that's exactly why your I did moments matter so much. They break the broken patterns. They interrupt the shame cycle. They give you the proof that you don't have to be perfect to be powerful. You just have to keep showing up for you and for what you want for yourself, because consistency compounds. And here's something even more compelling. Psychologists have found that self-confidence grows not just from success alone, not just from doing the thing, but from the willingness to just attempt the thing. In other words, it's not just what you achieve. It's the fact that you are willing to act at all. That's what builds belief. That's what encourages action. That's what confirms your ability to see it as your next you. That's what provides the proof and all you've done before and still have it in you to do. Just taking that first step, the attempt itself, that's what opens the door to you walking in your possible. See, it's not just about believing in possibility. It's about knowing that you are the possibility. You are what's possible. Your life, your change, your healing, your growth, your next chapter. It's not reserved for other people. It's waiting on you. And friend, you're not too old. You're not too young. You're not too late. You're not too unable. You're not too broken. You're not done. You are becoming. You are becoming. You are becoming. And that becoming is your becoming possible. And if you want to hold on to this work, if you want to keep building confidence in a way that lasts, then don't just think about this series, live it. Make reflection a rhythm. Ask yourself regularly, what promises am I keeping to myself? What belief am I holding close about what I want and what I know I can do? What action am I willing to take? What truth am I living from? What have I done that proves that I've done something similar before and I can do it again? And when doubt creeps in, which it will, please don't let it take the lead. Remember, I can, I will, I must, I am. Whisper those truths and then declare out loud, I'm possible, because you already have the proof. I did. So pause here. Really pause. Let that truth echo back to you, not just in your mind, but in your body and your soul too. What have you already survived? What have you built, shifted, or chosen that the past you once thought was impossible? That's your foundation. That's where your next step begins. So here's your challenge as we close out this series. Write your own I'm possible statements. Start with this. I used to think blank was impossible, but then I ... Fill in those blanks with your proof, friends. Make it specific. Make it yours. Say the quiet thing you've been scared to say. Claim the part of your story you've downplayed. Don't wait to feel worthy. Writing it out, speaking it out, living it out loud is how you become worthy in your own eyes. Read over what you wrote as many times as you need to until you believe, if I did that and that and that, what else is possible? Let these I'm possible statements be your permission to believe again. For me, I used to think putting myself first without guilt was impossible. But then I realized choosing me is how I show up best for others. I used to think being healthy without dieting was impossible. But then I learned what it means to truly heal my relationship with food and with yourself, because I learned I'm worth it. I used to think being a coach who makes a real impact was impossible. But then I realized that I've been teaching, leading, and guiding people my whole life. I just had to own it. I used to think finding peace in the midst of chaos and challenges was impossible. But then I stopped trying to control everything and everyone and realized that peace comes from purposeful progress of my own. Let your own life echo back the truth that's been building this whole time. You don't need permission to believe in what's possible. You need to remember you already are possible. Because confidence isn't just a feeling that you chase. It's a truth that you live. And you've already started. So take a breath. Say today's quote with me, this time from your gut. Nothing is impossible. The word itself says I'm possible. The life of your dreams is possible because you are possible. Friends, the words we see and read, the words we hear and the words we say to ourselves and about ourselves, about what we're doing and how we're doing it, they all matter. Your words matter because you matter. Have a great day. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Words Matter. I hope today's message inspired you to embrace opportunities, make progress, and create meaningful change in your life. Remember, every word you speak, especially to yourself, has the power to shape your journey and ignite your possible. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and please share it with someone who needs to hear this message today. Let's keep the conversation going, friends. Connect with me on social media or visit my website at deannaley.com for more inspiration and tools to help you rise and ignite your possible. Until next time, remember, your words matter because you matter.